Police say, well, they could do a better job if they had the cooperation of the citizens of Baltimore. Well, how are you going to have that type of cooperation? It all goes in a big circle. How are you going to have that type of cooperation and that citizen participation, which you need to bring down crime, if you in fact act as an occupation force to the extent that you've intimidated the citizenry when it comes to the police, period? It doesn't make sense. And this is something that's...
When I say look for trouble, I'm talking about in the sense of they look to start trouble.
After the passing of a man who was pulled over at a traffic routine stop by Baltimore City Police, the autopsy reports for Tyrone West were revealed. Speculation of brutal restraint from officers was mentioned, however, it was never investigated. My name is Jasmine Johnson, and this is your So Social News Report. We made you want to hop on this case as an attorney.
Well, we were called by the family.
Does it seem strange that the autopsy reports are being released 5 months after this case? I mean, it was speculation. No one really kind of investigated.
It's very strange and it's very unusual. You gotta remember, the police are usually in there when they're doing the autopsy.
Exactly.
You might have 5 or 6 police in the medical examiner's office, in the laboratory at the time they're doing the autopsy. So they're not only there by presence, but they're exerting influence and intimidation by their presence. So I'm going to have, when we get the autopsy, which now is being held by the state's attorney, and I talked to the state's attorney yesterday, Mr. Greg Bernstein, and he says he will release it to us as soon as they make their conclusions and finish their investigation.
Something has to be done because they can't keep getting away with this. Like, the law is made for everyone, of course, and I believe personally police aren't exempt from it. Do you feel like Baltimore police or Morgan State University would most likely take the heat or take the backlash from this?
Well, I anticipate that the primary responsibility is going to be Baltimore City Police. That's not to exonerate the Morgan State Police, but we don't know to the degree of the involvement of the Morgan State Police, or whether the Morgan State police officer was more of an observer than an actor. But we do know from past occurrences that there is a propensity in terms of Baltimore City Police to resort to violence much quicker when dealing with African American people.
I go to Morgan State University. That's over East Baltimore. Says, one day I was driving. I had a Lincoln Town Car. Driving, wasn't doing anything. I think I went like 5 miles over the speed limit. That's exactly what they told me. 5 over the speed limit or whatever. So, dude pulled me over. They told me, when they pulled me over, they told me that my license was suspended in the state of Maryland and valid in 49 other states. That doesn't make sense. I have my license valid in 49 other states, you feel me, and not in Maryland. So, they took me down, locked me up, whatever. I got out probably like an hour later. Everything was dropped. They dropped everything. Went back to go get my car because my car got towed. Yeah, the people at the tow yard are like, what did you do? I was like, what you mean? They're like, what kind of drugs did you have? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, the police came through with like 4 dogs going all through your car looking for drugs. I'm like, so whole time like they were profiling, thinking I was a drug dealer or something. For no reason, you feel me?
Just because of your car?
Yeah, just because my car is like harassing me, like for no reason.
The initial squad that came up on Mr. West is what they call a jump out squad. Those are these police officers riding around in unmarked cars and prying on citizens under the guise of official investigation. Mr. West may or may not even been driving, and pulling him from the car and not only interrogating him, but exerting physical force on him. That's just hitting, kicking, restraint. And also remember he was a taser. And so that, we know that tasering has a very negative impact on the heart. Police officers are acting under color of law, meaning that they're acting under authority, legal authority, which they believe exonerates them and protects them. Under color of law is a civil rights statute that came about 1871, and it is 42 U.S.C. 1983, which makes it illegal and also sufferable in damages for any official, police or otherwise, to act allegedly under color of law in abridging and inflicting improper conduct against the constitutional rights of the individual. This is not something unusual. Unfortunate as that may be, my practice is tending to show a very definite leaning toward greater police misconduct and propensity in Baltimore City as time passes by. It's something that's not going away. Seems to be something that's increasing, and there seems to be no political pressure coming from the mayor's office or the police commissioner's office to abate this type of conduct.
Malik Edwards. I'm from Baltimore.
Baltimore County or Baltimore City?
Baltimore County.
Are you familiar with the police brutality cases that have happened recently in Baltimore City?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Tyrone West case?
Yes.
Tell me some of your thoughts on police brutality.
Some of my thoughts are pretty simple. It's not right, you feel me? Like, it's no reason for police to be out here doing what they do. It's like every day you get on the internet, you see something new, a new topic of this police. He done did this, and she done did that. They done hurt somebody. It's crazy.
Looking at the report, the terminology, in my opinion, is just so vague and non-technical as to, in fact, not lay blame anywhere, and more of a resultant conclusion, in my opinion, to attempt to protect the police officers as well as the city and state. Cute or not, but that report is so vague and misleading when they talk about cardiac arrhythmia. They don't say whether there was a pre-existing condition. When they come talking about dehydration, they don't say how he's supposed to be dehydrated. Did the dehydration come from sweat? Did it come from being deprived of fluids? Or did it come from breathing? They don't talk about asphyxiation, whether he might have been put in such a stranglehold that he's unable to breathe. And they don't talk about the impact of the blows that he received on the body. We have multiple witnesses who talked about they observed the police kick him, beat him, and what have you. And so it's my position that even, not saying that he did, but for example, if he were to have had some type of pre-existing condition, obviously they don't conclude that that's a condition causing the death.
Right.
But if he had some type of pre-existing condition, anybody, high blood pressure or cardiac problems or some, they may not be pronounced at that time, but if somebody's beating you, stomping you, and choking you, that's going to be sufficient to activate and be the preemptive for death if, in fact, you're normal. You do an autopsy and you come up with 1,000 different things that this person could have been suffering from, then anything, all of that or any of it could have been activated by the police conduct. So that's back to your question. I find that report to be, as I said earlier in another interview, total mumbo jumbo, meaning nothing and designed to in fact exculpate and protect the police office and the city of Baltimore. It can be you, it can be your child, it could be your son, it can be your brother, it can be your husband,